good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We talk about health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good. Because after all, that's what we want. We simply want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. My guest today is Alissa Hei, who is one of the owners of Antheia of Chelan. Antheia is a flower garden and nursery located in the hills of Manson, nestled in the Lake Chelan Valley. And I've been there several times myself, and I highly recommend you take a trip out there. It is worth it. We're going to find out all about that in just a few minutes, but first I do want to remind you that if you have questions you would like me to answer on or off the air, you can email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And if we use your question on the show, I'm going to send you a free copy of my Amazon best-selling book, The Practice of Feeling Good. If you've been following this show and you want to learn more about personal development and how to take on your life more powerfully, then grab a copy of my book. You can also visit me at my website, fletcherellingson.com. One more thing before we visit with Alissa today. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. There are wars, there are protests, accusations, tariffs, inflation, shrinkflation, there are job cuts, division. It's a lot. And all of that uncertainty can put people on edge, often triggering behaviors that don't serve us or those around us. And it's hard to break that cycle once it starts in our minds. So I want to share one of the practices that consistently makes a difference for me: shifting into gratitude. What I love about gratitude is that it's the act of recognizing and appreciating something outside of yourself, something that you didn't create or control, and something you can't take credit for. It's humbling and uplifting. And honestly, it just feels good. And one of my favorite ways to practice is something I call the thank you practice. It's simple and even a little silly, but it works. I just say thank you out loud over and over to whatever I notice. Thank you, sun. Thank you, blue sky. Thank you, clouds. Thank you, hills. Thank you, flowers. Thank you, color. Ooh, thank you, wind. Thank you, Lake Chelan. Thank you, river. Thank you, balsam root. Thank you, oxygen. Thank you. Thank you. Is it woo-woo? Maybe. I don't really care. Because here's what happens. Your nervous system calms down. Your state shifts. And you interrupt the tailspin before it begins. Not everything has to be high-tech or complicated. Sometimes something as simple as gratitude and saying thank you can be deeply powerful. So I invite you to try it and let me know how it goes for you. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we're going to be back to visit with Alissa. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. So glad you're in this conversation. Today we are talking with Alissa Hei, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I said hey in the introduction, but it's Alissa Hei.
Alissa Hei.
Yeah, hey, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Hey, well, you know the drill. We always start off with a couple wins. We like to focus on what's going well in the world. So bring me up to speed. What's something that's going well in your world?
I think I've got a personal one and then a professional one.
Excellent.
So I think personally, just since moving to Chelan, my growth as a person has just been tremendous. And
right on.
I've kind of been thinking about this for the past day and really where we started when we moved here 7 years ago with a brand new baby, leaving our jobs, starting new ones, transitioning into that whole having kids and then back into a job and still having kids. It feels like a big survival.
Yeah.
And I feel just proud of myself and my husband for making it through all of that. Mm-hmm. And coming out happy and grateful. So.
Yeah. And you know, I got to pause there for a second because I really like what you're sharing here. Because what I heard in that is that you took a big risk and there were challenges along the way. And you both just took them on and navigated them, and you're doing it right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Big risks and lots of learning and
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, great. Tell me about your professional win.
My professional win in regards to Antheia that I was just thinking about is teaching myself everything that I know about flowers. And I think it's pretty amazing that, you know, I went through college, I got a degree, and I taught myself everything I know about the flower garden. And so I feel like there's a big win there, a lot to be proud of in my research and trial and error and my own experiences.
Yeah, like so much growth around creating this business, right? Just not just like the business part of it, but the knowledge that you had to attain about all these plants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you have a huge variety up there. But first, the name. Tell me a little bit about the name, and what does that mean? What was the inspiration for that?
So we started brainstorming back in 2018 when my parents bought a big piece of property, and we were like, okay, we kind of started with the feel. We were like, what do we want it to feel like? And we started thinking about inspiration and agriculture, and we liked the feel of Greece, and we liked the blue doors and the shutters on the windows and the stucco buildings and the bright contrasting flowers, you know, all over the place.
Yeah.
And so we thought, okay, we're going to try and make a feel that's kind of like Greece, Mediterranean. And then we started looking up Greek words and their meanings, and, you know, kind of found one that is beautiful and it kind of rolls off your tongue nicely. And Antheia in Greek mythology is the goddess of flowers and vegetation and gardens.
Yeah.
And so it was perfect.
Yeah.
And so we made it Antheia of Chelan to be our version of the Antheia from Greece.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if we said this or not, but just to be clear, so Antheia of Chelan is a you pick garden and nursery, right? And I read on your website that you initially planted some olive trees, right? Thinking that we were going to have that as an offering.
Yep.
But they didn't fare so well.
Yeah. So it was olive trees to begin with, and that was my mom's dream. It was something she really wanted to do, and also very Mediterranean. So we went on a research trip through Oregon and California and visited a bunch of different olive groves to see feasibility of growing them in Lake Chelan. And we looked at a climate in France that was at the same latitude as us. You know, thinking like, okay, we can grow these here. We chose 7 different varieties of olives, tried to find the cold hardiest ones that we could grow up here, and we planted almost 200 on just one of the parcels of property, which is about 5 acres, and let them grow for 3 years. Tried some different methods to keep them alive and let them acclimate, and they didn't, and we said 3 years. Like, we're gonna give it 3 years. We're not gonna be heartbroken, but we'll see if we can do it. And it didn't work, unfortunately, but we still have 2 of the olive trees in pots that I put out every year.
Yeah, cool. Well, you know what I appreciate about that story is like that's so common to starting a business, right? I mean, you may have one vision and you put all your effort into it, and then like, oh, that's not quite working the way we thought, and so you pivot and you do something else, and you guys have made it work.
It was a good experience.
Yeah.
The first year that we had the olive trees, my dad and I picked all the different olives, and we bought an olive press, and we smushed them and made oil out of them, and jarred some of them, and it was really fun. It was a good bonding experience for my dad and I too.
That's cool.
So I wish we could have done it again, but
yeah. Well, I've been up to your farm there several times, and it's beautiful, right? And so tell our audience here, what can they expect when they drive up to Antheia?
So you, right off the side of the road is our flower garden, and we planned it like that so that right when you get up to the top of Clayt Road, you just see this hill of flowers. And it's been really, really fun creating that, because I live next door, so every time I drive up the road I get to be like, yes, that looks so good. There's a split rail fence right in front of it, and then a big walnut tree, and then our little garden stand, and goes back into different gardens of peonies, and I built a pond last year and a wildflower garden, so you can kind of see just this beautiful landscaped garden when you get up to the top of the hill.
Yeah, and it's beautiful scenery beyond the garden. I mean, you're in the hills of Manson.
There's a huge orchard right behind us. Every time I take a picture, there's just a beautiful mountain backdrop. And a pear orchard across the street, which is flowering right now, and it's gorgeous.
So tell me a little bit about what kind of flowers people can expect, because the idea is that you can drive out there and you provide a vase for them, and they can go and cut and create their own bouquet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of flowers do you have, and what are some of your favorites?
So I am growing about 45 different flowers, and in a whole bunch of different varieties. So I think it totaled about 140 different flowers with their varieties in there. And I started out with the easy ones, zinnias, cosmos, snapdragons. And then I
love zinnias.
Yeah, they're so fun. They're really versatile. The zinnias are one of my favorites for sure. I've got stock. That's one of my favorites.
What is it?
It's called stock. It's a really boring name, but it looks like this cotton candy on a stick, and it smells amazing. I love the ones that smell like snapdragons. I just planted peonies. I planted just a small little section of them, 31 peony plants, so I'm really excited for those to grow. I've got some spring bulbs, tulips and daffodils, ranunculus. Those are just about done. The ranunculus are about to bloom. I've got lupin coming up right now. That's kind of a fun wildflower.
Yes, it is.
Spring flower smells good too. And then when summer comes, I've got celosia, amaranth, daisies. I could go on. There's so many. It's a third of an acre is the actual size of the garden, and so I've just squeezed a whole bunch of different flowers on there.
That's so fun. Like I imagine your knowledge base went from low to
zero.
Yeah,
went from zero up to here. Yeah.
Right on.
I don't know anything about plants or flowers.
Yeah, and so people can come out there and they can go and walk through the gardens. Even if they don't buy something, they can come and look, right?
Yeah.
And then if they're like, oh my gosh, I got to take some of these home, you've got vases. And I think, if I remember correctly, you also can put together bouquets for people if they want. Is that accurate?
I can, yeah. I've got, we've got an Antheia phone number. Anyone can call. It goes to my cell phone. This year, it'll be primarily self-serve.
Okay.
So I've expanded the hours because it was just based on my personal availability last year, and so a lot of people wanted to go up there outside of those hours, and so it's going to be a little bit easier this year to just have the stand open pretty much from 9 to 5, I think is what I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And there will be different size vases out there. You can pick whichever one you want, put some water in it, grab some clippers, and like make whatever you want in your vase.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, but then we're going to be back in just a minute because I got some more questions for Alissa. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. We are talking today with Alissa Hei, and she is from Manson, Washington, and she is the owner of Antheia of Chelan, or of Chelan, right? Which is a U-pick nursery.
Yep.
So you're a business owner, you're managing this business. What do you enjoy about it, or what have been some surprises, if any, about managing this?
Let's see. I guess creating a schedule and a budget. I'm really good at that. I like doing that stuff, so that's been nice. I'm a very Excel-driven person. Anything I do, I have to get it out on Excel first, plan it all out, but then having it go according to plan, you know, it's always a challenge. So that's been an experience. Staffing and then, of course, managing people is the hardest part of the job. So.
Managing people, yeah. That frequently is, right? Because people are unpredictable. And you're also dealing with Mother Nature, which is also unpredictable.
That's true. Yeah,
right?
that is also very difficult,
But,
especially with planting.
Yeah, and after you plant, have you had a large amount of success and like things coming up as you intended?
Yeah, and not. So this is my 4th year growing cut flowers, and I have really learned which varieties germinate really well, which ones start in their seed trays, which ones are easy to then transplant into the garden, which ones I don't have to start in the greenhouse, which ones I can just put in the ground and just say, okay, see you when you're ready.
Yeah.
And then which ones are too difficult for my time. So I've killed a lot of flowers, and you end up with this huge row that's just dirt in your flower garden, and usually I fill it with something else.
Now, what about the perennials? Do you have any of them that just like come back year after year after year, and you're just like, hey, good to see you again?
This year I do.
Yeah.
I kind of really delved into that last year because it's such an ease on labor that if they just either reseed themselves or if they just come back, then it's been
What
really
are some
easy.
of those examples that reseed themselves and come back well?
Right now I have yarrow coming up, which is a beautiful flower filler for bouquets. I have the lupin, all came up on its own. Larkspur all came up on its own. Orleia is also a filler. And then I actually don't lift my dahlias. I just leave them in the ground and cover them up, and they say you're not supposed to be able to do that on this side of the mountains, but it's a really labor intense to dig them up and store them, and so we thought I'm just gonna leave them in the ground and see what happens, and this is the 3rd year that they'll just be coming up on their own, and they already are coming out of the ground, so.
Oh, they're cooperating.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, and they might die one of these winters, but it's okay. Take what I can.
All right, so you're learning about managing people or connecting with people and navigating those relationships, learning about interacting with Mother Nature and that give and take, right? And what about the fall? Because what happens in the fall?
We have done different things each fall. So the first year we did a haunted Manson activity with the Manson Chamber, and we had all the high school kids dressed like zombies chasing around our hay rides. And that was really fun. It was a lot of coordination on the entire community's part. But it was a success. We did a hayride the year after that. And then last year we did a kids obstacle course with slides and monkey bars and treats and scavenger hunts.
And this is all at the nursery?
This is all,
garden?
Yep, at the garden. We call it the meadow, is the portion that the garden is on. And with a pumpkin patch. There's been a pumpkin patch each year. And so we sell pumpkins. You can walk through the patch, take pictures everywhere.
Cool.
And then do the kids' obstacle courses. And then my favorite part was the sunset flower picking.
Ooh,
because
neato.
it's gorgeous at 6-7 p.m.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. So people can come out there for pumpkins, and that's October, I assume.
Yep. We'll be planting them at the end of this month. My mom is going to do that this year. She is a big fan of Halloween and all of the fall activities.
Yes,
so
she is.
She's taking on the pumpkins. That will be her thing. And they'll come up. I like to have them come up just at the beginning of October because I'm one of those people that likes pumpkins on their porch for the whole month, and so
right on.
Yeah, if we can have them ready to go, then other people can decorate their porches all month.
Do you have any idea how many pumpkins you grow in a season?
Gosh, no, I don't have any idea. The pumpkin patch is about the same size as the flower garden. Some varieties,
good size. Then.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Yeah,
some varieties didn't grow at all. Some varieties produced 30 pumpkins on one plant.
Oh, wow.
So we had a lot of the little tiny ones, which are my favorite, and then some big orange ones, and then some funky sizes and colors.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. So if people come out there this spring, summer, they can definitely check out the garden.
Yep.
And if they happen to be there in October, definitely check out the garden, right?
Yeah, and pumpkins. So
yeah.
it's just something different.
And how long do the flowers how long are those available into the year for actually cutting and making bouquets?
Yeah, they'll go until frost, most of them.
Okay.
The really heat-loving ones will die off the end of September. You know, it just depends on when fall comes.
Yeah.
But dahlias will go literally until it snows.
Really?
It's pretty amazing. They're always the last thing in the garden that we can cut.
Wow.
And I always go out there on the first snow because there's beautiful, perfect dahlias, bright, vibrant colors with snow on them. And
that's
it's
so
kind of a
cool.
rare sighting.
I didn't know that they lasted that long. Hardy then.
They're very hardy, yeah. Dahlias
Right
are
on.
wonderful.
If people want to find out more about your business and take a trip out there, how do they do that?
They can find us on Instagram or Facebook or Google.
Okay.
Yep, those three.
And did you say, do you
and
have
our
a website?
We have a website,
Yeah,
yes.
what's the website?
AntheiaChelan.com.
Okay, AntheiaChelan.com. Go there, check it out. Include a stop if you are having a vacation out in Manson, or if you live here in the Valley and just want to do something fun, make a day trip out of it. Go out there and get a bouquet of flowers or grab a pumpkin in the fall. You also have some little kids.
I do.
Yeah? Do they get to go and hang out there with you in the garden?
Yes, yeah. And they like it.
Yeah?
I'm trying to make it a really positive association. We have a gate in the back of our fence that just goes right out to the garden, and so they get to play on the kids' equipment and help me with gardening and run with the dogs in the field. And so I want it to be a really warm memory for them when they grow up. You know?
I was just thinking about that, like, wow, what an incredible memory. Because what are the ages of your kids again?
7 and 3.
Oh yeah, especially like that 7-year-old, right? I mean, she's gonna have some definite memories of this.
I hope so, yeah. I make her a bouquet every time we go out there, and she gets to cut it herself now, and I'll give my little one a flower.
Yeah.
And they take them home, put them in their little vases. So.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah, I want it to be special for them.
Yeah, and one more question. When is it at its height? When's like everything in bloom? Is it always different stages or different things coming on, or is there a point where like, come out here because it's really gonna be in its glory?
Yeah, August and September are definitely when the garden is amazing.
Okay.
Like everything is gigantic and colorful, and it smells good. But it's fun because the spring flowers come up, and then the wildflowers come up in springtime, and the wildflower garden is like a different color every month based off of what is blooming out of it. And so it's really fun to see the progress of that. I put a bench in there, actually 3 benches now, and it mowed an area around so you can just sit in the wildflower garden and see the different colors. So
you can sit, reflect, take a picture.
Yep, take pictures of your kids.
Right on.
Yeah, so each month is beautiful in its own, but yeah, August and September.
Okay, good to know.
There's so many options.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being on the show, and thanks for building such a cool business, which is, a source of relaxation, reflection, and beauty, right?
Thanks.
Yeah.
I just built something that I really liked.
Yeah.
And then it turns out other people like it too. So that was a win.
Yeah, so many people love flowers, right?
Yeah. It's nice to be around them.
All right, anything else before we wrap up, Alissa?
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah, we're just excited to have another year and see more flowers and make more bouquets and make the town prettier. So
right on. Well, best wishes with it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, and now it's time for you to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.